What's up, Seekers? Aaron here again with another conscious thought, perhaps. However, this time I'm also trying something new with recording. Um, this is all new, so I'm just really dabbling in a whole bunch of different options that are available to me. So, trying something different this time. Watching the levels, the audio seems like it's going to be good, so there shouldn't be much to worry about. We'll see. If not, let me know in the comments down below what you think about it, and we'll go from there. If you do like what you're seeing on these channels lately, please give us a thumbs up. Hit that sub button. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything other than a few seconds of your time and a mouse click. I mean, technically, when you think about it, you're paying for the internet, but anyway. So I do have a lot of things that I want to talk about, and I'm kind of building this list in my head lately of things that I would like to discuss on here, but we're going to go with a more recent one that happened yesterday. Thankfully, due to how things have been going lately, the manifestations that I've been working on and all of these things I've been doing, I've been able to do what I want. I've been able to live in abundance and live the life that I want to live. So last night, went over to Mac's place and jammed for a little while. We are working on a project that is musically inclined, so feel free to keep an eye out for that. I might be posting on other socials like Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok about what's going on there. So check those out. But while we were talking, we got on this topic of abundance and how going through like the whole kind of, I don't know, like spiritual awakening or enlightenment process that kind of happens as you're going through. And something that I've learned is it's not really something that just happens because it's already there. I can confirm that this has been talked about by Aaron Apke. I'm confident it's been talked about with from Aaron Doty. That's okay. Everything about this is just inherently already there, and this whole process is more kind of like realizing your true self. Because of all of the distortions that we go through life, all of the ego that is created because of human experience, with traumas and even past life traumas coming into your current life, all of that stuff leads to this separation, which is another definition for ego and negative entities. It's a separation from your true self within and what we all actually are. And we were talking about it because he started this journey before me, quite a few years ago before me actually, and mine's recent. So we're almost like Venn diagram comparing and contrasting what's happening between us. And it's really super interesting because there's a lot of synchronicities into what's going on. And thankfully, with him being ahead of me, I can kind of see the roadblocks that he's facing and I can prepare myself for them. But then there's also the individual aspect of consciousness part of it where I'm going to have my own unique experience in this, and there are going to be roadblocks and stumbles that I get on my own that he doesn't. So there's a lot of we compare and contrast things that do happen, and then we also help each other with what we're going through, because we know at some point there's a high likelihood that one or both of us will have these experiences. And the thing that we're going through right now, somewhat together, is dealing with the added stress and the pain and all these other negative things and thoughts and feelings that happen when you're in a workplace that doesn't feel right anymore. You see, we've both gone through this process. He's more in the middle of it than I am. I'm not going to talk too much on him, but I've come to the point in my life, my journey, where I'm just going to jump into the mystery, which is why all of this is happening, why I'm talking to you today, why we're going to have this conversation. But I have a little more of a safety net than he does. And there's just, certain individual things that separate us in that aspect. But we sat down last night and just talked about how not feeling safe, not feeling comfortable, and making the connections to other things that are going on. So there's this, a little bit of an aside, there's this scientific study that happened that talks about the neurological connections between experiences and the person you were, the level of consciousness you were when those were happening in perpetuity. So when you want to improve yourself and you're going through the same actions that you don't want to be the person that's doing, like the person you want to be does not do those. When you do those actions, it connects those neural pathways in your head to the consciousness that you were at that time. So let's say years ago, you were so into drinking and going out and partying, and then you've come to the point where you realize that you don't need that anymore. You don't want that in your life. That's not the person you want to be. And you're still working through that process. And then when you go back to those people, those places, those situations, those events, those things that you're doing, for instance, drinking, and you do it again now, just the fact that alcohol is entering your body and touching your tongue, your neural pathways are firing. Not only is alcohol like a vibration dampener, but in this kind of situation, it's taking you back neurologically to that person you were back then. And especially when it comes to something like alcohol or hard drugs or anything like that, you end up, reverting back to who that person was in some way or another. And then, when it comes specifically to something like alcohol, you end up going through that recovery process. You drink too much, you have a hangover, you feel groggy, you feel really bad the next day. And it takes a lot of willpower to be able to overcome that. We're all kind of well aware of that. Old habits are hard to break. And there's many that I'm working through now. In fact, it's right over here. My biggest one right now is nicotine. Nicotine, and honestly, some other ones that I'm not totally comfortable talking about, out on the internet right now. Thankfully, mine aren't alcohol related, because that's not only exorbitantly expensive, but supremely detrimental to your health and your mental health, your physical and mental, and even your spiritual health, because it lowers your vibration naturally. But it takes a lot of power. I'm making progress on my own with that. And I know it's going to take some time. And I know that when I focus on things and I consciously make better choices, that things are going to get better. It's just, it's just kind of the way it works. You do what you're most focused on. This also relates to some other conversations I've had with others very close to me of I'm offering you something to consider, which is kind of the point of all these videos. And someone wants to say, I don't have the time. Well, you choose where you place your time. If you would rather sit in front of the TV for hours a day, doing nothing, eating shit food, watching shit shows, or, God forbid, watching the news, that's what you're choosing to do with your time. You want to work out? Well, you got to set something else aside right now to go do that. You want to eat healthier? Well, actually, that one's a little different. You can just change that. But that another thing, willpower, that takes time. If you want to educate yourself, you need to set something aside that you're doing now to then go forward with the time needed to intake education, any kind of education. It's not often that you have a full-time job and a full-time student. And if you do, I know there's a lot of you out there, you don't have a whole lot of time. Your free time is very limited. Your time to do things other than work and school is extremely limited. That's changed a little bit over the years because of online education and new laws and regulations that have kind of changed that. But still, the free time is quite limited. And the ones that have the power within them and the ability to live on, 3 to 5 hours of sleep, impressive. Not at all good for your health, but impressive. There's studies into, if I recall correctly, and this was on a Rogan podcast, but like 6 to 8 hours of sleep is ideal. You get anything less than that, you're actually hurting your body. So if you're in a situation that doesn't feel right for you, well, there's a reason. It's not right for you. Suffering through it is not the best way to go about your life. You have a job that feels draining or depressing. You can try to change your attitude on it. That's totally a possibility. I'm not denying that. You can, try to unplug from it while you're there, but it doesn't work. And if it does, it's not going to last for long. All of that catches up to you. You're there in that moment. Find a way out. Find a way out that's safe. Find a way out that's protected. Find a way out that better serves you. If you're into spirituality, which I'm assuming you are because you're watching this, ask higher self. Meditate. Eat better. Spend the time on yourself that yourself needs. There's a lot of advances in mental health practices in regards to employment, especially as of late. There's a lot of advances in mental health programs. I know it's different per state, and I know that, by experience, having been to and from North Carolina with my amazing wife being in the mental health field. And if you can't, find something online. Work on it yourself with content like mine or Aaron Apke, Aaron Doty, Eckhart Tolle. In fact, this time I will try to remember to put their channels in the description. They helped me. They helped me get to where I am now, so they can help you too. Hopefully I can help you too. If you're in an unsafe environment, find a way to get the hell out. Money is a concept. It's a thought. We're all thoughts, technically. If you want to feel fulfilled in life, if you want to live in true abundance, which is doing what you want when you want to, going through suffering, hurting yourself, lowering your frequency, it's not going to get you there. We got to raise the societal consciousness. We have to come together and increase the vibrations of the world's populace. Check out the map of consciousness. In fact, I'll even try to put a picture of it here. Impressive little thing. And the interesting thing about it is the higher up that path you go, the more people, the more thoughts, the more entities on the lower end you can offset. If I remember correctly, someone calibrating at like 500 on the map of consciousness offsets like 70 million people at 200 or below. I could be wrong. I know it's a ridiculous amount of people. When you're suffering through a job, a relationship, a living space, anything that lowers your vibrations, it's really not worth it. Find a way out. If working from home with this side hustle is something you can do it. I'm not just doing these to market the company. I'm doing these to express myself and hopefully help people in the process. But that's kind of the reason why I got into the idea of making my companies, to help people to progress, polarize, and live happy, fulfilled lives. And it's not going to work for everybody. I mean, it's simply not. But it is an option. If you don't feel safe, if you don't feel fulfilled, if you don't feel happy, if you don't feel love, it's not where you're supposed to be. Get the hell out.